President Donald Trump federalized the National Guard without state approval, sent 2,000 troops on ground to LA, and current reports have it he's sending another 2,000 troops to LA along with 700 Marines. And I'm gonna give you a very detailed, comprehensive breakdown of the relation between foundational Black Americans and people of Hispanic origin who come from countries like Mexico, Honduras, Venezuela, Ecuador, all of these Latin countries that are south of the border. So I'm gonna give you guys a very comprehensive breakdown and the contrast between the mindset and how people view things and how the reality on ground really is. So hopefully I can give you guys a better insight from a very non-biased perspective, only accounts that I've interacted on some level that I can actually speak of. President Trump has invoked Title 10, citing a danger of rebellion. Yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, I was stating Title 21. Of course, that was incorrect. So it is actually Title 10. And this is to federalize the National Guard and deploy troops to cities. So he is essentially can take over that state. I don't know if anyone are understanding the powers of the president by invoking Title 10. National Guards are a state asset. The governor of different states, they're like the president of their state, and they have their own militia. And that's how America essentially beat the British. We had all these different militias throughout all these different states, homeowners, farmers, hand workers, blacksmith, etc. They're the ones who essentially conquered the British for them to go back to their country and let America be America because of all these different militia. And the militia nowadays are just the National Guard for those states. But by certain federal regulations, the president of the United States of America can invoke a title like Title 10, and those state troops that was under the authority of the governor now becomes federalized troops, and the governor no longer has that power. He can't retract them. He can't recall them. They're now under the jurisdiction of the federal government. So again, these are now active duty troops. And that's what people are not understanding, because the president stated that I see destruction, I see police officers, I see National Guard people being attacked, being assaulted. They're destroying government property. So in that case, this is an insurrection. And the governor, Gavin Newsom, hasn't done anything to decrease, deflect, and thwart out this terroristic sort of gathering of people supporting people in our country who are illegal. Again, that's paraphrasing from the president. Okay. Now, in a dramatic turn, Trump endorsed border czar Tom Homan, suggesting to arrest Governor Newsom amid the LA unrest, calling it a great thing, claiming Newsom is grossly incompetent. Newsom responded strongly, denouncing the proposal as authoritarian and claiming it crosses a fundamental line for American democracy. Here are the remarks from Gavin Newsom.
He's a tough guy. Why doesn't he do that? He knows where to find me. But you know what? Let your hands off 4-year-old girls that are trying to get educated. Let your hands off these poor people who are just trying to live their lives, man. Trying to live their lives, paying their taxes, been here 10 years. The fear, the horror, the hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy.
All right, now you heard him himself. He said, arrest me. And if he interferes with the federal jurisdiction of deployment of federal troops, because again, Title 10 invoked the National Guard, and now we have Marines coming on the scene. Marines coming on the scene. And you know what? I don't really show, but listen, Marines. I'm former Army and former Marines. So the Army, you know, a lot of peacekeeping mission going over to Haiti after the earthquake. The Marines, not so much. Marines are either training or waiting. And these guys that's coming to LA, they're from the 27 out of 29 stumps, also known as 29 Palms of California. And believe me when I tell you this, there's nothing out there. Now, when I was in the Army, we went to a training facility called NTC, National Training Center. Majority of this training is conducted in Death Valley. Death Valley is some of the harsh conditions. They actually have windstorms, sandstorms in Death Valley. I think the hottest, because I probably did 6 times in NTCs, usually a month to 3 months while you're there in this very harsh conditions. And this is all training for you to go to environments like Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Qatar, etc. And during that time, you see snakes. I mean, there's all sorts of, desert wildlife, so to speak. Because when you go over to countries like Iraq, you may see a sand spider. Anyway, I'm kind of getting off topic, but the point that I'm making here is that these Marines, and understand that I was a Marine first before I became a soldier. So I'm both. Never mind. The point I'm making here is that we just train. The mindsets were totally different in the Marine Corps at a heightened level versus the Army. But again, Army can ramp it up and ramp it down. The Marine Corps is a fighting force that always stays ready. And it's not just that they're superior over the Army soldiers or Navy no, it's the mindset that we have. The smallest Marine is speaking and acting and being fueled as if he was the biggest Marine. So again, put it this way, this is not a good look if they uncuff the Marines on scene. If they uncuff the Marines on scene, this is not a good look. Being a Marine myself, this is not a good look. Because as I said, the Trump administration has deployed 700 U.S. Marines and alongside another 2,000, which makes it 4,000 National Guard troops that he federalized to Los Angeles to protect federal property and support immigration enforcement despite no requests from the state leaders, thus him invoking Title 10. Homeland Security Secretary Nome promised escalated rage, triggering protests in LA, San Francisco, Sacramento, Chicago, and New York. California has filed a suit asserting the move violates federal law and state sovereignty. You know what I saw today, guys? I saw people doing anti-ICE protests in Texas. And I'm going to get on the racial component of this between blacks and Hispanics, because I've done many episodes that I show that there is a white supremacist faction in Mexico. Okay, that's the one I did the special on. I'm pretty sure they have different factions throughout Latin America. Okay, and I'm going to give you evidence to back up some of my rhetoric here where this is not biased. This is what I know. They have white supremacist Mexicans that hold group gatherings in Mexico while they're saying hi Hitler and all those things. I did a special on that. You guys have to really research my channel, but it's in there. But nonetheless, when we look at this, they're the ones fighting against the country they want to stay in. So here's where I draw the line when it comes to the racial component. And before I go there, I want to make sure that I show you guys this video. Now, this is one of many videos that I've seen in the past 10 years. So again, I know this is a very small sample size, but it's imperative that you look at it and listen to what this guy is saying. Now, in my opinion, because I've been around a lot of different people, been in the military, traveling the world, I can tell he's not Anglo-Saxon. He's not Caucasian white. But for most people, he will pass as a white man. But other than that, that's just something I want you guys to build on as he's talking about here. Listen in.
of videos of black people making fun of Mexicans. Lately, I have seen a lot of videos of black people making fun of Mexicans for what's happening right now with Mexican people. I have also seen black people make videos talking about Mexicans. Don't come to us for help because we're not helping. First of all, Mexicans are not alone. They have Honduran people, they have Salvadorian people, they have Guatemalan people, they have Nicaraguan people, and a whole bunch of other countries that are willing to join forces with the Mexican people. Black people, what makes you think that Mexicans are going to come running to y'all for help? What for? Y'all black people can't even help yourselves. That's wild. Mexican people are hardworking people. Mexican people stick together. They make it work. That's the total opposite of a black person. You want to call me racist? Go right ahead. I'm just keeping it real. Like I said, Mexican people are not alone. They have all of us. What makes you think that a Mexican will say, oh, okay, well, we have the blacks. Let's go to them. Come on now. Y'all don't even trust each other. What makes you think that a Mexican will trust you if you don't even trust your brother? Get your popcorn ready and watch how Mexicans make this work.
You know, when I first heard this, of course, some of this is true. Stereotypically, some of this is true stereotypically. But what I think that people are not totally understanding, because I need to respond to this. This is very important. There's a storm swirling in the streets of America right now, not just in LA. And I see the news trying to guilt trip, and I see Hispanics from different countries trying to guilt trip. And someone that you see on your screen here who spoke white supremacist tropes that black people are the opposite of hard work, family oriented, and support of one another. That they will never come to us to join into the anti-ICE protests. Protests marked not just by chants and signs, but by the destruction of public property. Anytime that black people got in the streets and protest, 99% of the time, was there a little looting? Was there a little rioting? Absolutely. But majority of our protests was peaceful. And then evidence came out that groups like Antifa, which are non-black, were doing some of the destructioning and rioting and burning of the buildings, but not at this scale. Burning of police vehicles, physical assaults on National Guard members, and full-blown chaos. But let me be very clear. We are not joining these protests. Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, African Americans, if you are an American citizen and your generation stem back from 1526, and here's why. Let's start with the facts. What's happening in these anti-ICE demonstrations isn't lawful resistance, it's anarchy, destroying government equipment, attacking law enforcement, and obstructing immigration enforcement are all federal crimes. Foundational Black Americans know the system all too well to be baited into illegal action. Yeah, you'll have some black people, you'll have some people to cry out because of the humanitarian focus of that people are being treated inhumanely. Yeah, you're going to have some black people to speak out about against that. But when we speak about the legality of the situation, it's totally different. And I think that's the issue that I essentially have. Now, when we talk about obstructing immigration enforcement, these are all federal crimes. And we're not going to be baited into this illegal action. We've been the primary targets of mass incarceration, COINTELPRO, surveillance, and suppression for generations. We cannot afford to co-sign lawlessness. Again, we cannot co-sign lawlessness in support of people who are not citizens of this country, people who historically have not stood up for us. Let's be crystal clear. If you was ever in the military, if you was ever in the Peace Corps, Job Corps, then you have friends from all races. Because myself, I have Hispanic friends who are from Mexico, who are from Honduras, who are from Ecuador, from Salvador, all these different countries. But when I get out into the real world, because we're compadres, we're brothers, we're warriors together for the same cause, for the same country. I'm not speaking to my brethren because we had the same ideology of protecting this nation of terroristic threats, foreign and domestic. And if you are not a citizen of America and you are rioting and looting and burning and destroying, you're already committing multiple crimes. Let's keep it real. So we cannot afford to co-sign lawlessness in support of people who are not citizens of the country. We are citizens. Okay, let me repeat that for the folks in the back. We are citizens. Our blood, sweat, and tears are in this soil. We are protected by the U.S. Constitution, born under the jurisdiction of the 14th Amendment. Meanwhile, those who are illegal and are not citizens, they do not fall under full constitutional protection. Let me repeat that. Do not fall under full constitutional protection, and their presence by law is not recognized as legal. So why should we risk our freedom and our voice for a cause that respectfully has never shown up for us? When George Floyd was lynched in broad daylight, were we the large-scale Hispanic protests and solidarity? Absolutely not. When we march against redlining, school-to-prison pipelines, and mass incarceration, how often do we see our Latino brothers and sisters show up for us as a collective? No. Now, don't get it twisted. We recognize that individuals of every background have marched with us. I'm not stating that they haven't. Again, we recognize the individuals of every background that have marched with us. But as a group, the kind of reciprocity we're being asked to give has never been received. That's not solidarity. That's exploitation. Now, some folks out here yelling, California is Mexico. California is native land. California is Mexico. California is native land. Let's get the history right. Because I know a lot of people hate history because when you bring history into the picture and you have to erase your emotions, when you bring history into the picture and you have to erase your emotions, when you bring fact and evidence and statistics and analytics and metadata, then you can no longer lean to your emotions of how you feel that this is humanitarian, this is illegal, I'm going to the WHO, I'm going to the World Health Organization, I'm going to report these crimes against humanity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Do not forget that the law is not emotional. The law doesn't have ethics or morals. But there was stating that California is Mexico. California is native land. That is what they were telling us. So let's get the history right. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, signed in 1848. Again, for the guys in the back, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, signed in 1848, ended the Mexican-American War. Mexico ceded California and much of the Southwest to the United States in exchange for $15 million and protection of the property rights of Mexican citizens who remained there. Now, this was a legal binding treaty. So no, California is not Mexico. It was sold, full stop. Just stop the lying. And we're going to get into that as well, but stop the lying. See, foundational Black Americans are not the enemy of immigrants. We're not the enemy. We have friends who are Hispanic and Haitian and Caribbean and African and Asian. Because don't forget, this is not about Latinos. They're just the ones on the front screen who have the largest group of people in America who are protesting. But do not forget, there are illegal Eastern Europeans here. There are illegal Chinese personnel here. There's illegal Indians here from the country of India. There's people illegally from almost every country in the world in America, the Caribbean and Africa as well. Not just Haiti, not just Mexico, not just Honduras and Ecuador. We have people who are illegally in the country, but the mass concentration of these people stem from Central America and Mexico. So I think that's where people are kind of missing the buck here. But Black Americans, we're not enemies of immigrants, but we are also, okay, we're not going to sacrifice our citizenship and our legal status and our legacy to support actions that could criminalize us while uplifting others who have not shared our struggle or our cause. This isn't about hate. This is about self-preservation and focusing on us. For all too long, Black people have been focusing on every other group of people while other groups of people were focusing on themselves, and we were not. So now we have people that come out and speak ill will towards Black people. They sound like white supremacists saying us Mexicans work hard, us Mexicans support each other. How do you think that all of these laws, some of them are nothing burger laws, but nonetheless, how do you believe that all of these laws got signed into law? Do you believe that it was your people out there marching, getting their heads bashed in, getting shot? Do you believe that? Did we see that on TV? Show me the evidence of a lot of these immigration laws that has helped people from around the world to come to America. Well, no one gets credit for that because, again, we just a bunch of baboons who are idiots and stupid. And we have never organized and got together and accomplished anything because we don't work hard, even though the foundation of America is built on Black Americans in slavery, after slavery, and current day. Did you see the young man who invented plastoline? Because he realized that plastic is made of crude oil, and if you melt that down with a reactor, it transfers back into crude oil, and he started to fuel vehicles. That was a Black man. Current day. I'm not even going into history. What about Wes Moore, the one who made the AWG, the atmospheric water generator, that he took it to Flint, Michigan, and went to all these other places where people didn't have fresh water, and his machine just captured the water out of the air. Oh, I can go on and on and on. These are the contributions, not just building the first railroads, because for some reason the Chinese gets the credit of building railroads in America. No, the first railroads in America were built by Black people. Look it up. On the Eastern Seaboard, 60 some odd years before the Chinese even came over here, Black Americans built the railroad. But nobody wants to hear that. I understand. We are the protests. We organize, we educate, we legislate. That's what they're forgetting. We organize, we educate ourselves on these things, and then we get legislation passed. The Civil Rights Movement, the Million Man March, the Black Lives Matter movement, not the Black Lives Matter organization, two separate things. 99% of our protests are peaceful, even when we're the ones getting attacked. Compare that to the images we're seeing right now. Firebombs, barricades, smashed windows, attack on police officers and military personnel. We are not falling into that trap. This is a message of clarity, not cruelty. Because again, have nothing against people fighting in what they believe. But I do have an issue with people fighting what they believe when it's illegally in another country. See, we want dignity, justice, and fairness for ourselves first, because if we don't protect our community, you already stated that you guys stick together, and we know that. So yeah, we have some issues in the Black community. No one's blind to the things that we've been through. But we have legacy and we have citizenship. So we're not linking arms in this protest. Not at this time. We are taking a back seat. We are sitting this one out. Because Foundation of Black Americans have been the moral background and the moral backbone of this nation for centuries. We earned the right to be cautious. We've earned the right to be strategic. And most importantly, to be unapologetically focused on our own survival and liberation. Notice I did not say freedom. To our own liberation. And notice I did not say freedom. That's the issues that we have here today. And I have a couple of issues. I'm not done. I'm going in today, ladies and gentlemen. So if you got a break from work, you got me in your ear. I want you guys listening because I also have something to address when it comes to this guy right here, Stephen A. I'm not going to call out a lot of his past rhetoric, but some of the comments he made. And I'm going to let you hear this as much as I can. But we're definitely going to break this down.
The GOP to Knicks because he wanted to use it as an issue to favor him during the election. Well, damn it, it worked. It worked. And I got news for you, Governor Newsom. It's working now. But before I go any further to elaborate on this issue, let's hear from Donald Trump himself. Let's see how he feels about the state of California and what's been going on under Governor Newsom's regime. Check out the president.
I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent. Everybody knows. All you have to do is look at the little railroad he's building. It's about 100 times over budget. We're putting a flagpole over there. Under budget. I always do under budget.
What does your intel tell you about these people causing all the problems?
Oh,
Are they people ICE is trying to deport, or are they professional agitators?
The people that are causing the problem are professional agitators. They're insurrectionists. They're bad people. They should be in jail. Thank you.
Can't go that far. Can't speak that way about everybody. If you're black and you see blacks being arrested, ultimately incarcerated, scheduled for deportation, how would you react? So we got to look at the Hispanic community, the Latin community, and we have to say, you know what? We can't blame them to come into the defense of their own. And everybody is not a criminal. Everybody is not.
Now, this is the problem. Stephen A. has a Caribbean background. Number one, I'm just going to point it as the base. I'm not going to say that's the reason why, but I'm just going to point that out. He has a Caribbean background, so he's not a foundational Black American. We do have a different mindset on some things. Now, we're not a monolith. We have very wild thoughts, but I just want to put that premise in our foundation about Stephen A. down there because it's very important. But he went right to Black people. And I get it. He's a Black man, but he went right to Black people, not to look at this, that all these people who are conducting an illegal assembly in support of illegals inside of our country versus protesting, marching, trying to change the law for people who have been here 5 or 10 plus years who are here illegal, that we have them grandfather clause in to be citizens. Like, really push legislation peacefully first. You continue to march and you continue to protest and you continue to cry out and you try to get legislation passed, not just destroy things off a weekend of a couple of days and try and act as if you're going to force the government to accept people in the country who are illegal. But then you have Stephen A. talking about that Black people, we shouldn't look at this about people protecting their country, man. We're not looking at it. We just see the destruction. Why not talk to Asian people? Why not talk to Hispanic Americans? Why not talk to those people? Stop talking to us. See, the more that we try to just take a back seat, because every time Black Americans protest, what are we protesting? What are we protesting? Some sort of injustice, some sort of racial discrimination that we have, evidence and a great account about. We are never protesting for illegality in our country. You know what? We're protesting today, guys, that we should be able to rob banks. And when we get caught, we should be able to keep the money and stay out of jail. We're not marching for that. We're not marching for people who are illegally in the country. Why is it when I go to all these other countries around the world, I have to go through a process. I have to go through immigrations. I have to go through customs. And if I try to bypass their legal process, then again, I'm a criminal in their country because I'm in their country illegally. Why is this hard? Well, there's been people who've been living here 3 years, 5 years, 10 years old. They're splitting up families. No. We are not splitting up families. See, here's the problem with the situation about immigration. America never split up families. Families split themselves up. No one said, hey, listen, we understand that there's a border right there and we can give, our personal information and maybe, apply for a visa or some vacation tourist pass, whatever they may have. But no, we're going to go around here to this gate and fit through because this is a blind spot that they have. We're going to enter their country illegally. So now we are illegally in their country doing whatever the hell we want to do. Oh, but since we got caught and we've been here and we had children here, our children, according to your Constitution, America, are now U.S. citizens. Well, you're right, according to the Constitution. But you are not. Oh, well, if you deport me, then you're splitting up families. You know what? You're right. We need to take your kids with you. Absolutely. Well, they're American citizens. That goes against your Constitution, but you're their legal guardian, are you not? So which one you want to do? You want to be deported without your children or you want to be deported with your children, but you're getting deported. That is the problem. Nobody is looking at the law, which America falls upon. It's not about humanity. It's not about your emotions. Yes, I feel a certain way. Great. Is that against the law? Absolutely not. I feel that every foundational Black American whose lineage goes back to the slave fields of America that was sanctioned by America, all of you guys are owed at least $5 million in reparations. I'm talking about actual monetary. I don't care how people feel about it. Oh, well, they're going to do all that money. They're going to need to get financial literacy. No. Just give them the money. But that's how I feel. But that's not the law. It hasn't been enacted yet. Everybody's going about this like Governor Newsom. They're attached their emotions and feelings to this. And the only question I have is it against the law? And it absolutely is.
There committing heinous acts and what have you. But it's not a good look. There's no question about that when you're attacking ICE agents, trying to show their identities and pull off their masks, trying to expose them, lighting fires to cars on the roads in the city of Los Angeles and causing all of this kind of chaos, particularly if you're undocumented. That means that you're here illegally. And if you're here illegally, the nerve for you to be causing that kind of trouble. OK, that's a different subject for another moment. But let me get to something very, very
good point out of the points that he's made, because that is the nature of it all. I'm going to give you more insight. And this has come from Nick Shirley's channel. This is to give him credit because he did some excellent work here. He went into the heart of the riot. Brave guy. I wouldn't have did it. I would have been at home. But I want to show you guys some footage, okay, from this.
At the federal building here at one of the ICE detention centers here in LA. What's your message to the National Guard here today?
The National Guard.
And why do you think they got sent out here today?
They got sent because we don't have a president that can lead.
And what fears you?
And so again, I could be very petty. I know people know me. I can be very petty. When he said F the National Guard, he basically said F military personnel. I know. I'm alluding. I'm broadening the spectrum of what he said. Now, somebody like, no, he's just talking about those National Guard that are there. No, he said F the National Guard.
You most about Donald Trump and the ICE raids coming through here in Los
I don't
Angeles?
fear that motherfucker. Have you seen our community? I don't fear that motherfucker.
Donald Trump, homeboy on a motherfucking real fuck that piece of shit.
What's the water for?
Diffuse tear gas. If you need it. Yeah. If you throw a canister in one of these, it should diffuse it enough, or at least stop the chemical reaction.
And what makes you want to come out here with the Honduras flag out here?
I mean, these are my roots right here, you know? This is where my family came from. I'm a first gen.
A lot of people wonder on social media, why are people coming out here with other nationalities' flags? If they don't like America, why don't they go back to
I love America and what it represents. You know, the idea of America to our people is a better future. And
I wanted to point this out very quickly. Out of all these flags, the Mexican flag, East Honduran, they're covering in their face. Because again, a lot of these people have jobs in America. A lot of these people work in America. They don't want to reveal their identity, which is their God-given right, nonetheless, because they know they'll get fired. Now, the only person in this protest, okay, that I see that makes sense is the person holding that American flag. Why are you in America and LA protesting back and forth with your country's flag? Now, some may say, well, I have the Mexican flag because we're actually in Mexico. I kind of already debunked that of the Guadalupe and Hidalgo Act Treaty of 1848 that Mexico basically sold California, okay, to end the Mexican-American War with $15 million, and for their citizens who were already in California, for them to have legal standing to be part of the new world. So again, the only person that makes sense in this entire picture is that young man holding up the American flag. That tells people you love America, but you're from Honduras. I guess you're trying to get some clout that you're supporting, other Latin American countries. It makes no sense. All these people want to stay in America, but thus you're going against the National Guard, which is the military defense of that nation. Interesting. And then you're wearing your own countryman flag. Total contradiction. Again, unbiased.
An opportunity to have a job and create something that in our homes we don't have, So we love America. We want to be here. We want to contribute, And I agree. The people that have committed crimes and, like an actual crime of, murder, something like that, I can agree with that. I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say, no, keep everybody here. Yeah. But the people who are here, hardworking people.
Right now, do you think it's right for them to go after the most dangerous people?
I'm so tired of the hardworking people. It kind of makes, even though they mostly use this racial tropes against Black people, Hispanic, white, Asian, everybody use that they're hardworking and Black people to scum of the earth, even though we have all these jobs. Majority of Black Americans are in the middle class nonetheless, but somehow all these other people are the only people that are working hard. You never hear the white community comes out like, we're hard workers. They just work. They just go to work, right? Just like anybody else. But it's kind of the minority. It is a minority fight. We keep going back and we don't even justify it like at this point. Listen, you guys work hard. Great job. Great job. Now, the comment here, this is a great comment. Okay. Injustice ain't the same as humanity. You know why? And that's a really good point, because humanity is based upon how you feel about a certain situation, and an injustice is violation of the laws of that land. So thank you for pointing that out. That was really good. Thank you very much. Because it ain't the same. Violation of laws in your country against a certain people, injustice, versus humanity, how you see a certain situation, a particular environment, and you feel that it's very humane. Wait a minute, you fed the father before the child? That's very humane. Okay. So again, of course, they got a definition of those things, and that is just my take on it. But nonetheless, let's listen in.
Like they say they're doing?
I mean, I don't see nobody here has attacked them. And they initiated all of this. We're peacefully protesting. They're the ones that come out with riot shields. They come out with billy clubs and all kinds of shit. I don't know who's the aggressor here, but it ain't us.
You! I can't wait to know you! Take off your badge, big boy! Take off your badge! Coward! Get that shit in my fucking face!
Okay. That guy's yelling at the ICE officials for being a coward for wearing a mask. Meanwhile, he also has a mask on. What's your message to the police officers in the National Guard right now?
They've got a choice. They don't have to do this fucking shit. That's it. They can either be American citizens or they can be what they're doing right now.
You don't think they're acting like as American citizens?
No.
Do you think they're trying to protect the country or make it a more dangerous place?
Now, I know most people are going to understand this. He said they have a choice. They're following orders. They signed they took an oath, and then they signed a contract. So if they go against that, then who the hell are they? That's why they'll be ostracized. They have a dishonorable discharge. They're following orders as they should. Now, no one's getting harmed. They're just showing a stance of force. If things get violent, they need to have enough people on ground to help out the police, the LA police.
What do you mean? Like, this is way, way beyond what it needs to be.
Something's about to break out real soon. If these people keep taunting the police officers with all these other flags, all these other words they're saying to these police officers and National Guard, something's about to happen.
You guys suck! Christy Lewis!
can tell you're very upset.
Of course we are. Yeah. We feel some burning in the eyes right now upon arrival here. Everybody be prepared. We still fight for the legalization of all in occupied territories. This was indigenous land. This was Mexico. This is our fucking turf. F these motherfuckers. Free them all! Stolen people are stolen.
And that's what I was referring to when people were saying this is Mexican land and this is Mexico. This is native land. Again, 1848. Guadalupe Hidalgo Treaty. Look it up and you guys will find out the truth. So again, this is emotional based. Now, I had to stop it here with this young man here because everybody who's black, we understand that there's always going to be one. It don't matter where we go. Like either you're going to be the one or there's going to be one. What I mean, you can show up in a restaurant, and this has happened to my wife and I many times. We're the only black people in that restaurant, but there's always going to be one. Or maybe there's someone serving in the back that's black. But we're always going to have one in the midst. And it's important that I talk about this young man right here because things are going to come full circle when Nick Shirley asks him a question.
Black people were stolen, and it was taken from the indigenous. Stolen people, stolen land.
What's your message to ICE and to the federal government today?
Just the message, just straight up, is just this government is fucking corrupt as fuck. People need to fucking start realizing that shit. And fucking, we need a fucking factory reset. We need some justice up in here. Just for everybody, straight the fuck up. You know what I mean?
You have lots of tattoos, and people oftentimes interpret tattoos with being part of a gangs and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been checked for gangs or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm focused on some other shit. I'm not worried about that, though.
You're not worried about that? No. So essentially,
he sounded like a police officer. Hold on. That was almost entrapment. He said, I don't want to talk about that right now. That, kind of shows a level of guilt, in my opinion, or he may just don't want to talk about it.
All that's happening right now is that ICE, police, DHS, and the National Guard are just holding a line here outside this federal building. Protesters haven't gone back at the police quite yet. We'll see what happens. Could be happening very soon.
This was our land. All this is stolen. And what? Now we're fucking illegal here. Are you fucking kidding me? You're not fighting for. You're not fighting for this country.
We're gonna dox you. We're gonna dox you. We're gonna dox you.
I love this flag right here.
You just said you love that flag right there. What's your favorite thing about the Mexican flag?
What colors?
What's the purpose of bringing out the...
He said that he liked the colors. He said that he loved the flag. Then he said he liked the colors. Let me, I want you guys to hear that, please. Just bear with me here.
What colors?
What's the purpose of bringing out the Mexican flag?
Again, he said the colors, which makes no sense. He doesn't even know why he's out there. Now, more than likely, he may have, a family member who may be Hispanic or Mexican. He may be a boyfriend of a Mexican, woman. He may be friends with a Mexican. That's why he's out there. That's why he's out there. He don't even know why he likes the flag. Talking about he likes the colors. Well, I like red, white, and blue.
Flags today here while we are in the United States.
Honestly, I have no idea, bro. I just came here to just show out. That's it, bro.
Do you think it's local?
Again, as you're getting these personal accounts of people who are there on ground, not everybody is rioting, not everybody is looting, not everybody is destroying property. But he asks this young man, basically, why are you here? Listen to this.
While we are in the United States.
Honestly, I have no idea, bro. I just came here to just show out. That's it, bro.
Do you think it's low-key like, all right, if you want to rep your flag, go back to your country kind of vibe, or do you think people are just upset with what's going on?
I don't know. Honestly, it's true, we did come, but I don't know, bro. They're here already. They don't want to leave.
Why are they protesting what's going on here in the United States if they don't want to go back to their country?
Because they think it's stolen land, so they think they could just come in here, and take over.
And this guy right here is essentially taunting National Guard right here, saying National Guard, LOL. Meanwhile, National Guard is right there with their troops. The lawyers have arrived.
Yeah.
What are you guys here to do?
We don't talk to press, I'm sorry.
Okay, and what's your guys' job here to do?
We're legal observers with the National Lawyers Guild, so we're a third party. Yeah.
So if the protesters say they touch a police officer, one of the members of the National Guard, who is at fault?
Totally
happening. I mean, clearly.
What are you gonna do?
Huh?
What are you gonna do?
I don't know. I'm just kind of here.
Just keep the finger up?
Yeah.
There you go.
This guy's a little fucking bitch. Now.
He asked the white gender fluent person, what are you going to do? He like, I don't know. I'm just here. So some people, I guess they're just showing support that they're out there for them, essentially. They don't know why they're there. Again, the big difference between the two groups of people, and this is the truth. Anytime that Black Americans get in the street and protest, more times than not, we're trying to push legislation through. We actually have a game plan. I'm not stating that they don't have a game plan, is that nobody knows it just yet. They're just fighting for people who are legally in the country, number one, and stating terms that don't make any sense, like this is native land, this is stolen land. Absolutely not. I think somebody should just be very sensible and say, you know what, before we just haul out a bunch of craziness for our countrymen who we want to stay in the country, let's go and do some research of possible legislation that we can revise or that we can come up with. Okay, well, California was actually sold to America for $15 million and for legal status of the people who were living in that region. So again, California is American land, which ended the Mexican-American War, number one. Number two, actual legislation that can probably put a grandfather clause in for people who are here illegally and somehow get that passed, through the government before they become legalized. If they can show that they've been working and paying taxes, I'm not saying I'm in support of that, because most people are like, nope, they're here illegal. They need to be deported and then come back through legal means. I'm just saying possible legislation versus enacting riot on a very large scale. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I haven't even showed you some of the things that they were attacking vehicles. They were throwing rocks at the back of vehicles, police cars. Okay, there's one scene here in particular of them destroying this kind of a black police truck that I want to see you guys. And they've been saying very ill will things. Okay. You hear chants from our community like no justice, no peace, things of that nature, meaning that we're going to continue to protest, meaning that we'll continue to try to push legislation. Now, I was trying to find the attack on that vehicle. It was a black SUV that they bust out the back of the windows. They were showing them standing on top of cars, things of that nature. It was all sorts of things being done.
So watch, the police are trying to leave out of here, and watch what's going to happen to this police officer when he drives away. The police have been...
Again, I can understand being agitators, but again, they're assaulting the police. And the police point blank range unloaded a smoke round or a tear gas round right to his chest. Lawful?
Overtaken here on the streets. There's about 10 of them now here on the streets, and over 1,000 protesters are throwing waters at the police. Now the police are about to shoot.
What's the deal?
What's the deal? It's crazy out here, man.
Now look.
The police, I don't understand. The police are trying to leave, but people won't let them leave.
The police.
I know that everyone's saying F the police, but if the police are trying to leave, should they let them leave?
Yeah.
I understand that these people are upset, but the police...
Yes, I'm a little disappointed, but I'm not disappointed. I mean, we do have a low-brow community, Pookies and Ray Rays, I get it. But I said there's always one. You had one on the other side of the spectrum, because you can just tell the way he speaks, and here's the other side of the other spectrum. So I guess there's always at least two.
Police are trying to leave. There's about 20 police officers now, but they're not letting them leave. And when they do leave, they're kicking the cars, throwing waters at them. They broke the windshield of one of these police officers. So I understand they're upset, but I don't understand why they won't let the police leave if they're trying to leave. Everyone's going back to the National Guard where the people are being detained right now. So those watching the video right now, am I right or wrong in having the opinion that the police are trying to leave, the people should let them leave versus antagonizing them even more? You're kind of putting the police in a hard situation when they're trying to back out, leave the location, and then you're the one hitting back at the police, throwing stuff. So I'm confused. What should the police do? Should they be able to fight back, or should they just take the hits? You get hit?
You already know, man. Hey, it's for a cause, you know what I'm saying? We out here, bro, as you can, man. You know what I'm saying? We man.
Wow, you took that hit right on the chest.
Oh, yeah, bro. I was just riding my scooter, like, you know what I mean? Just another day and just bam!
Were you hitting the police or did you just get caught in the crossfire?
Man, I did something. I ain't gonna lie. I fucked shit up, so, hey, this shit comes with a price in the end, you know what I'm saying?
Now, everyone has rushed back to the federal building. National Guard's out here, police back on that side, and thousands of people. Streets are filled. Now police are shooting. Shots are getting fired out here. National Guard.
One component that people are not talking about in these protests, that a lot of the policemen, a lot of the California National Guard are Latino, are Hispanic. I just want to point that out. I don't know if no one say that. If you look at some of their names, I'm looking at some of their names here. Gonzalez, if you look at some of these people on their hand, Najira, like a lot of these people are actually Hispanic. So they're saying F their own people because I guess they're now agents of the establishment. I don't know.
National Guard has now been activated. They've left their spots. And they're pushing everybody back. Holy crap, people are getting shot right now. Drop the tear gas.
A lot of people know that that's tear gas, but in the military it's called controlled substance because it's for riots and things of this nature to control a certain group of people to push them back. So they're using non-lethal methods right now, plastic bullets, smoke grenades, etc.